As of January, nearly 100,000 indigenous remains were still being stored in public institutions across the country. Recently, I visited one such institution in Ohio. I'm standing on the campus of the Ohio History Connection in Columbus, Ohio, the home of the country's largest public collection of Native American, Native Hawaiian, and Alaska Native human remains. The organization and associated museum is headquartered in the building behind me. But the more than 7,000 ancestors' remains held by the Ohio History Connection are stored in warehouses nearby. Concerned about theft and vandalism, Ohio History Connection leaders wouldn't allow ICT News to film these buildings. The remains have languished here for decades, but recent changes in the federal Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, or NAGPRA, have placed a 5-year deadline for museums and public institutions, such as the Ohio History Connection, to repatriate ancestors' remains to tribes. Assistant Secretary for Indian Affairs, Brian Newland.
My name is Brian Newland. I am a citizen of Bay Mills Indian community.
Says the new rules are long overdue and will help us, quote, heal from some of the more painful times in our past. Native leaders agree.
I think we all have heard these issues for generations. These are the things that our grandparents talked about, and this is something that we can do. You know, I think I don't know many families that would leave their relatives somewhere.
When we do things like repatriate the ancestral remains of indigenous people, is we enhance everyone's humanity. We make it more possible for all of us to get along with one another.
Under the new NAGPRA regulations, Indigenous peoples will have the final word on the affiliation and disposition of the nearly 100,000 of their ancestors' remains held by institutions throughout the United States. In the past, organizations like the Ohio History Connection were the sole arbiters of which tribes, if any, had legitimate connections to these vast collections. By claiming that most remains were unaffiliated or unconnected to contemporary tribal groups, the institutions were legally allowed to keep ancestors in their collections to be used for research or other purposes. As of January 13, 2024, however, the supremacy of the Western worldview, at least in archaeological terms, has officially been put on notice.
Without a doubt, repatriation is more than a healing exercise. I think it really does something to change the power dynamics and also change public perception about who contemporary Native people are.
I don't know that America really understands how big this issue is.
Annette Pember, ICT News.